everyone. This week we have an interview with the wonderful Tabitha Frank, who is a founder of the nonprofit organization Endosalpingiosis Foundation Incorporated. Hi, Tabitha. It's great to have you here.
Hi.
All right, so Tabitha, just to get us started, tell us a little bit about yourself. What would you like our viewers to know about you? This can be anything from your hobby, your family, your job, where you're from, anything you'd like us to know.
Well, I was born and raised in Madison, Wisconsin. I currently live in Janesville. I have a 6.5-year-old son who is starting first grade in a couple weeks. I am a stay-at-home mom. I decided that I wanted to do this nonprofit. I went through a lot of issues getting pregnant. I had 10 miscarriages in the past 15 years. And I had about 8 of them with my husband, and we've been together for 12 years next month. So when I finally did get pregnant with my son, I decided to, do everything I could to make sure it was an easy birth. And it didn't turn out that way. I was in bed rest, and I had a really difficult pregnancy. And after he was born, I started complications, and the doctors did another surgery, and we found out that I had endosalpingiosis. And then at the same time, they also discovered that I had pelvic floor disorder. So I decided about 6 months after I got my diagnosis, since nobody knew about my disease, that I was going to create a support group on Facebook. And I was pretty excited. I created it. There wasn't anyone else who had one. So I was like, okay, I'm the first one. So, it's a learning curve. And within the first year, I had over 100 members. I had girls from all over the country. Some here in the United States, a lot in the United Kingdom. Australia is a very high number too. China, you name it, I have all it. And about a year into doing that, I came up with the idea to do the nonprofits. My husband and my parents have been very supportive of it. My husband's really encouraged me. He actually helped me come up with pretty much everything in the beginning. So I decided that what I wanted to do with a nonprofit was to create awareness, educate the medical community, help women who have this disease, help their families. There's so many different programs that I have in my head that I'm trying to figure out how to get the ball rolling. This last February, I went to Washington, D.C. to attend the National Rare Disease Organization Week, hosted by NORD, which was amazing. I mean, I got to meet people who hear about diseases that I didn't even know exist. I also got to meet with Tammy Baldwin staffer, Ron Johnson staffer, Congressman Brian Steele, who I had met the year before when I was working with Real Across America. So that was pretty exciting to actually be able to meet with him again. I'd been working with the staff a few times, so it was nice to actually, finally put the faces to some of the names and emails we've been, dealing with. So, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
So, I want to do more advocacy work. After meeting all these people, I realized that there's so much out there that, that we could do for women who have, especially for rare disease. And then unfortunately, COVID happened as soon as about a week after I came home. So things got put on hold, but now things are picking back up. And I did Real Across America again this year. I talked to Tammy Baldwin staff again. They are actually helping me write a resolution for a system program that I want to start creating so that I can introduce it into the Senate to help with funding, to get my system program up and running. And one of the things I want to do with my system program is to help with transportation, to get to and from the doctors, medicine, have a way that all of the women that they need help with getting onto food share or finding a disability lawyer or any other assistance programs in the state, instead of having to contact all of the different programs, they can reach out to mine and I can be in touch with the state of Wisconsin, and eventually I can go nationwide, and we can have all the resources in one place. And we can eventually have some doctors on board, and we can be able to say, okay, look, you got this, well, this doctor's in your area, and they can help you. We're also going to do mental health is a big thing that I want to work with, not just for the woman, but for the family. because it affects them. It affects my own son. It goes through it himself, and I want to make sure that the kids don't fall through the cracks because I want to focus on the mom that they need help, and we need to be there for them. So I also am working on a program called Baskets of Hope. What it is we're going to put together baskets of stuff for women who just had surgery that's related to the disease or related to any disease that they experience. They'll have notebooks, candy, heating pads, bottled waters, that kind of stuff. Deck of cards. I got a list of about 20 items, which you should be able to see it at my website, which I'm very excited that we just got launched last month. I am on the GARD, the GARD. I'm listed on them. I just got listed with Nord, which is pretty cool because that took me 18 months of a lot of hard work to get with them. So, any other questions?
Yeah, I just want to say that was an amazing journey. It's really inspiring how much work you've put into it and the rewards you're getting out of it now and how much you're able to do for the rare disease community. And that's just, really inspiring. So the next question we have, you were diagnosed with this disease in 2014, right?
Yep.
So would you mind telling us the story exactly of how you were diagnosed?
Well, like I kind of mentioned, after my son was born, he was born in December of 2013. I started having complications after he was born. So in about February, I went in and they did exploratory surgery. They thought it was going to be endometriosis. They found out it wasn't. The doctor did some labs and pathology reports came back, so endosalpingiosis. He had to reach out to some colleagues in other states because he's never heard of this disease. Not many have. There's only about a handful of doctors in the whole entire country. I mean, not just the state, I mean the country that actually know about this disease. Unfortunately, most of them are dead. There's a few of them who have actually wrote papers on it, but it's really hard to find information on it. My doctor handed me a piece of paper he found online and said, here you go. I don't know about this disease. He goes, and I'm not really willing to learn about it, so good luck. And walked out of his office. And I was like, oh my God. And that's why I created the support group, because I didn't want other women to have to feel that way, because I was flabbergasted that he wasn't going to help me. And over the 6 months that I continued to see him, I learned more about it than he did. And then the nonprofit came. So yeah.
Wow.
It was quite a long journey to get there. I mean, I lost my ovary and my fallopian tube when I was 18. I am 35 now. I've had 9 surgeries since then. I've lost my kidney because my doctor screwed up and cut my uretube because she didn't know what she was doing. So yeah, and we think that if they would have paid attention to what they were doing, that they probably would diagnose with me this way back in my early 20s, and yeah. They also told me I wasn't able to have a kid, and after 8 miscarriages and finally giving birth to one, I got my tubes tied. So
yeah, wow,
I'm
that is.
thrilled to have my son. I call him, my lucky charm. He is very lucky to be here.
Yeah, wow, that must have been quite the struggle, especially with all your surgeries and the whole diagnosis process. And it seems like the doctors not being able to help you was one of the biggest issues for you.
That's kind of why I created this. That's why I call it a foundation, because eventually I want to start research, and I want to be able to get answers. Is it genetic? Can we pass it on to not just our daughters, but can I pass this on to my son? Can he pass this on to his daughter? I mean, there's skip generations. So, let's find a cure. Let's find treatment. There is no treatment options. There is no cure. There is no nothing. They treat this like endometriosis. And I know we are very similar in the disease. They call them cousins diseases, but they're not the same. I mean, we have almost all the same symptoms, but they're still not the same. And we need to, say, hey, look, we're different. We want you to treat us different. So,
yeah. Wow, that is a great struggle, but you really pulled through, especially in founding this nonprofit, and you're really helping a lot of women by doing what you're doing, and it's really inspiring.
Yeah, I have 199 members right now in the support group. So I'm pretty excited. We're almost reaching 200, and I never thought I would make it this fall.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Okay. So on to our next question. Just so the audience can get a general sense for how difficult it was, how difficult your journey was, can you tell us a little bit about endosalpingiosis and what exactly about the disease makes your life especially difficult?
Okay, well, the disease, I guess I guess I'll explain what the disease is first, and then we can go from there. What it is, it was created by this Dr. John Sampson, who actually discovered endometriosis in 1930s, and it's the fallopian tube tissue. It's found outside of the uterus. So as normally the tissue is found inside, this is found outside. So the tissue travels all over your body, up, down, left, right, you name it, it can go. The most common is in your bowels. It has been known to go into the lungs. It has caused brain hemorrhages. Some people have had heart problems because of it. It's very hard to tell sometimes because it's just little blood clots, that just travel around your body. So it's hard to tell. It mostly sticks, by your ovary. It can cause a lot of bowel issues. I think that it's caused a lot of my issues, but I can't prove it because since it's so small, the only way to get diagnosed is to have surgery and have a pathology report. And a lot of doctors don't want to do surgery, especially on your bowels, because it's very dangerous. Like I said, there is no treatment. It has been linked to cause ovarian cancer and other women's cancers, but we can't prove it technically because there's no research done on this disease, so it's really hard to tell. The symptoms is abnormal pregnancy, cramps, backache, headaches, fatigue, mood swings, which is pretty much all the same symptoms as endometriosis. So.
Yeah. Well, I can definitely see how that can make your life especially difficult, what with all the healthcare issues that can arise as a result of it, and in general, the general discomfort that you have to face because of your disease.
It took me 4.5 years to get onto Social Security disability, and this disease is not currently listed, which I am working on, but I got a very sympathetic judge when I filed my appeal, and I had a really great lawyer, and the judge actually said that she felt bad because there is no, way to get on for rare diseases, and so, yeah, she granted mine, but not a lot of people are that lucky, so said we need to do better.
Yeah, definitely.
I really like how you decided not to give up, and instead of, how you went through your own experiences, you decided to create a foundation to help make sure other women don't go through those experiences. And I really like the baskets for health, idea that you had. I think that's very creative.
I actually came up with it when I had my last surgery. Not this last March, but March 2019. When I was laying in with recovery, I was like, it'd be really nice to have a deck of cards or something. And I was like, I'm not the one to think this. So yeah, I started coming up with thinking all the stuff that I would want in my basket. And then and I've got a few donations. My mom and my stepdad are very supportive. My husband is incredible. He has missed countless hours of work to help me and take care of our son. And so I'm hoping that I can eventually get some sponsors to actually help me get the baskets of hope up and running, because I would like to be able to send it to not just go here in state, but I want to go international.
Yeah. Okay. So just the next question. What would you say that your immediate reaction to your diagnosis was, and how did your family respond to your diagnosis?
I was shocked. I was literally shocked. My family didn't take it very well in the beginning. They didn't believe me. My mom had a hard time believing it. So did the rest of the family. My husband had to actually go with me to actually hear from himself and the doctors because he just didn't understand. But once they got over it, they understand. My family slowly starting to come around, especially after I created a foundation. But it's still hard for them to understand that I don't look sick. I still do a lot of stuff I can do. So it's hard for them to. And when I have bad days, I hibernate. I don't want to see anybody. So, they don't see me in a bad day. So yeah, it really is hard for them to understand it. But I think that slowly they're starting to realize it a little more, especially when I cancel everybody a lot. So.
Yeah. Well, that's very great to hear that your family has been so supportive of you and
I'm
started to
lucky.
come around. Yeah,
I'm very lucky.
yeah. All right, next question. How has your life been different since your diagnosis? Were there any things that you took for granted before your diagnosis that you wish you hadn't, or things that you took for granted that are now a struggle for you?
I kind of wish I wouldn't have waited so long to try to have a kid, because we did wait in the beginning, and then we went through a couple years where we had quite a few miscarriages, and I kind of wish that, like, I felt like I wasted my 20s, you know, because I went to different doctors and I didn't realize what was going on, and I wish the doctors I would have found a doctor who listened, and I would have stood up for myself more and not let them walk over me, which is one of the things I want to do is, be kind of the voice for these women and stand up to them and say, look, no, something's wrong. We need to help you. We need to find a treatment that works not just for you, but for you and your doctor. And yeah, that was a big problem I had. Nobody seemed to listen to me. No one cared what I had to say. My life has changed dramatically because I went from being able to, I could just hop in the car and, drive over to my mom's. Now I have to plan it. Okay, well, it's not like, I can be spontaneous anymore. I have to plan my whole life out, which doesn't exactly work with a child. So
Yeah. Yeah, wow, that is definitely a big struggle with your disease and having to plan out your life now, now that you can't just do everything spontaneously. Yeah, sounds like a lot, but you've gotten through a lot, and it's really amazing all the progress you've made.
thank you. Yeah, like I said, I think having a support group on Facebook and being able to talk to these women and actually feel like they are there with me going through this, that it helps, because I know I'm not alone. I'm not just doing it by myself. They are there too. So it's really nice to have a support system. You definitely need it.
Yeah. All right, that your story is so inspiring, especially
So
like
thank
I think it's really amazing all the progress that you've made, all the things that you're doing for other people. Like you didn't just give up, you stood up and you fought for what you believed in and what you thought should change. And
I
that's
thought about
really
it a few
amazing.
times. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but it's really amazing all that you've done. Yeah, just based on everything that you've said to me, what advice would you have for other people trying to advocate for rare diseases and bring about change for the community?
Don't give up. Keep on going. No matter how hard it seems or how long it takes to get something accomplished, you will eventually get your goal. And ask for help. There's many resources out there for the rare disease community that I didn't even know exists until after I started getting involved with some of, like, Global Genes and Nord. So yeah, I totally would say, don't give up, ask questions, talk to other people who are going through this, because you wouldn't believe how much advice I've got from other people who are having the rare diseases, who have given me advice or tips that I would never in a million years thought they would talk to me, but they had no problem sharing the story. So yeah.
Yeah, that's some really great advice. I just wanted to ask you about your meeting with Congressman Brian Steele.
Yep.
How was that experience? Like, how did you get there? What did you do with the congressman?
Well, when I met him last year, I work with Well Across America. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but
Yeah,
what they did
yeah,
was, so they set it up, and I kind of gave him an introduction, like told him a little bit about my story, told him what I was trying to do, told him that I want, and he seemed very open. He was very easy to talk to. I was extremely nervous because it was my first time really doing something like that, so I had no idea what I was doing. But after talking to him and him asking questions, I realized that he's just like everyone else. Just because he's a congressman doesn't mean he's not a person. So when I got to go see him again the next year, which is this year, it was a little easier because we already knew who each other was. So talking to him again, I felt more comfortable, and he remembered me, and he actually seemed to cared, and he wanted to help, and he so it's nice, and it wasn't just a congressman. I mean, Tammy Baldwin's office has been incredibly helpful. I cannot say enough things about what she's doing for the rare disease community and what she's doing, for us here in Wisconsin. So everyone in her office has been so helpful, so supportive. So yeah, they've actually kept me
great.
going.
That's great. That's really great. All right. So, is there anything? Would you say what would you say is the most important lesson that you learned from living with a rare disease? And based on that, what advice would you give to patients who are experiencing rare diseases, as well as the advocates for those patients and the caretakers, like the family or friends who have to help patients of rare diseases?
Do as much research as you can, and look it up. Go to different go to some of the main resources. Like I said, like there's Global Genes, there's the NIH, the National Institution of Health. Go to them, ask questions, ask lots of questions. When you go to your doctor, take down notes so you don't forget things later. And when you take family members with you, or who are your caretakers, because those are the ones who are actually going to need to hear from the doctors and the nurses what you need to do for your care. Don't just feel like you have to take it on yourself. There is a huge support community out there that if you reach out, a lot of people would help you. I'm more than willing to talk to anyone. I don't care if you got a woman's disease, a will disease, whatever. I would talk to anybody and everybody, who is struggling, especially in the beginning, it's quitting a nonprofit, because it is hard. And there's a lot of times you feel like giving up. My 6-year-old keeps me going, a lot. I look at him and I'm like, I want him to know that I'm not just giving up, that I'm doing something with my life. I want my life to have meaning, and I want him to know that mom being sick, there's something that good can come out of it. So when he gets older and he understands this is what I'm going through, I can leave this for him. I can leave a legacy for him. So hopefully he can carry it out and he can continue doing all the work that I would like to do.
Yeah, that's amazing. Also, you just mentioned something about Tammy. Could you elaborate on that? I didn't quite hear.
Sorry, what did you say?
Tammy, you mentioned when you were speaking about Congressman.
Oh, Tammy Baldwin. She's a senator from Wisconsin. Yeah, I've been talking to her office for about 6 months now. I reached out to them before I went to DC in February, and because she has a rare disease herself. So I want to know if she'd be willing to help me with speaking engagements at events, but unfortunately I had cancer because of COVID. And then I got to meet with her staffer when I was in DC through the Rare Disease organization, and then I also met one of them on my own while I was out there. And ever since then, we've been emailing and talking back and forth. And they're trying to help as best as they can. So, if you reach out to your congressmen and senators, they do want to help. They do want to listen. You just have to be patient and keep trying, and over and over and over again until you finally get there.
Yeah, that's great. Do you have any parting words for the audience? Just anything that you'd like to say to the audience in general, any rare disease patients, any last words that you'd like to say?
Check out my website. Give me feedback. I don't care if it's good, bad, and please sign up. I'm trying to get as many people to sign up for the membership on the Facebook. It's free. I like to know who's seen it so that I can, look back later and actually, so if people got questions, then I can put the names and the faces together. So yeah, and thank you for doing this interview.
Yeah, thank you
feel
so
free
much.
to let us know about all the information from Facebook you would like us to follow, and if there's anything you'd like us to do, we would love to help you out and support your mission.
I think it's great that you guys are doing this. I forgot what I found you on Facebook, and I was so happy to hear that there was another group out there trying to do what I'm trying to do. So it's nice to know I'm not doing this by myself.
Yeah, we really admire and really genuinely value how much you're doing for the rare disease community and for people with endosalpingiosis, all these women who are struggling and they feel so alone, but you are really helping in so many ways, and we really, really admire your strength and your courage.
Thank you.
Yeah, and fighting.
But yeah, no, it's nice to hear, and I hope that I actually can help 1 or 2 people along the way.
Yeah, no, I definitely think you'll help a lot more than just a couple people.
You helped us.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we're helping each other. That's what this is all about.
Yeah. Thank you again so much for this interview.
Thank you.
And we really learned a lot about your organization, about you, and we just got a sense for how wonderful of a person you are. And yeah, thanks again for this interview.
Well, thanks for actually email me back. It's hard to get people email you back these days. Let me tell you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks again.